What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and in the background right now, you're not only seeing the brand new Fortnite UI that is being worked on behind the scenes, but we'll also be going over a few other things, such as the Discovery getting a search bar very soon, and a revamp coming to the item shop in the very near future that is going to be a little bit interesting. Now, one thing you may notice is my graphics are a little odd here and there, and there's some things that aren't exactly correct. That is because of the fact that when it comes to showing the item shop a little later in the video, you will notice that it tanks my FPS. It heavily just hurts my computer, right? And it's most likely an issue on the private server side of things, but it could also be one of the reasons why the design isn't out as of yet, and it all relates to the fact that it might just have a lot of buggy little issues here and there that make everything unreleased. Now, before we even get into everything, one thing I should mention is that your locker looks completely the same, your quest tab's going to look the same. The only thing that's going to visually look different is all of your main menu stuff, like the bar at the top, your friends list, and your V-Bucks icon, which if you click this, it will still take you to the V-Bucks tab, your whole entire mode selector, and everything else. So let's start it off by firstly talking about the friends list. As you can see in the top right, both the V-Bucks and the friends list are right there. However, when we click it, everything is on the right side. That is right, the friends list is going to move back to the right side instead of being on the left side. This was originally how it was back in chapter 1 for the longest time until they did their first UI revamp, and it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Now, as we go to the different tabs and everything, you can see right here, all the menus and everything are still intact. You have your friends list menu, all that type of stuff, and it's still there for you to actually view. It's just over shifted to the right side of the menu. And now it's something that feels kind of odd to me, but at the same time, I feel like I could get used to it once it's been enabled for the longest time. But of course, that isn't the main focus, because as you can tell right here, the UI is actually pretty similar and close to what it was before. The only difference is it's on the right side. The main UI changes come to the main mode here, where in the top, or I guess, in the bottom left, we can actually see where the mode selector is going to be, but on the right side, we see some interesting little icons. Now, you can actually hover over these, this one being the ranked icon, and if you click it, it will take you to the ranked menu that tells you about progression, free rewards, all that type of stuff, and you can learn about all the quests and everything you can do every single season when the ranked rewards are there, but it will always be visible over here on the right side. Below that, you also have access to seeing your current level, including the XP to the next level in your battle stars. However, it won't tell you the exact level XP in your battle stars if you're not hovered over it, which if you're on controller, that means you have to actually hover over it as well using the D-pad and everything else, but it is a nice compact menu, and I like how it has a radial circle going on around it to tell you, hey, you're close to the next level, so even if you don't want to see the exact amount of XP, you can see a generalized idea and a little bit of that blue glow going outside of the bounds just by taking a quick glance over. And of course, right below that, we also have Survivor Medals. Now, when you click this, it will take you directly to the Survivor Medals tab in your in-game menu. So it'll take you over to the quest. You're able to actually view the Survivor Medal rewards and everything, just like that, easy peasy. But of course, it is one of the things that also proves, what happened in my background? Why does this always happen? Something always breaks when I make these videos. There we go. But of course, this is something that does also prove that the Survivor Medals will be returning next season and will continue to be a thing going forwards, considering the fact that they have a very specific UI element just for that right there. Of course, on top of all of the UI stuff changing, we also have the scheduled downtime pop-ups that will now be in the top right instead of wherever they were. I think they were in the top left before, but of course, slight changes here and there. Basically take everything on the left, move it to the right, and vice versa. Now, one thing I should mention here is that when you go in different tabs like Battle Pass rewards and everything else, you do have a little bit of clipping because the actual UI is not finished yet, but of course, it is something that is still working, and most of the design still seems to be the same. The only difference is this top bar over here, which they're continuing to actually change. The quest menu, like I mentioned, is fully complete. It works the exact same way. You're able to view your augments, the map, and everything. The compete tab is the compete tab. Your locker still works the same way. The career tab still works. You're able to view all of your stats and accolades and everything else. Even if you were to go to your profile tab and everything, those still have the old design, and there goes a lot of my menu. But now that we have it back working, as you can tell, there are some little bugs here and there. A lot of the actual UI stuff is completely fine, completely normal, but there are some slight changes happening to some areas that we can't currently view in game, and that's where the actual creative blog posts come into play. If I go ahead and pop up an actual blog post on screen for you guys to see, this is the Let's Play community blog post for Fortnite creative mode, which kind of gives some information on seasons and chapters and all that type of stuff, and it also talks about how every 2 to 3 months they bring in new outfits, vehicles, weapons, and other gameplay stuff to keep people on their toes. But if we go down here, we can actually see an image of the upcoming UI. Now, this blog post was originally unreleased and unfinished when it first accidentally went live, but we do notice some slight changes here. Firstly, you can see at the bottom the emote button is a little bit different. We also don't have the ranked icon showing up. Most likely it'll only show up when you actually select to enable ranked mode on a playlist, but there are some slight changes, such as, for example, chat, back, and even the emote button, all having these rounded borders to go along with it. And that is the main focus of the UI revamp, are these rounded borders. But of course, it does appear that we have two different options up here. We have this option right here, which is going to allow you to go to the nav bar and go to the discovery menu and select between the main core things being, oh, here's deathmatch. And if we actually scroll down here, we can see that exactly what I'm talking about. You'll be able to choose between combat, practice, popular, 1v1, driving, all that type of stuff. However, this won't be exactly in those 4 square icons, and instead the 4 squares is going to be like the current in-game discovery feed, where you just see a lot of actual playlists for you to go into. But one unique change to actually see from the upcoming discovery UI is the fact that you have all of the normal options for categories still there, but you'll be able to search for island names, descriptions, or codes, allowing you to easily find a lot of islands out there, and actually probably find some islands you only ever knew the name of, but not the actual code for it. It would be interesting to see in the future if they add a creator search as well, since creator profiles are a thing they want to do. But of course, this is another glimpse of that upcoming UI revamp. In terms and like comparison to what we currently have in game, we notice a few things. If we actually look here, you see play, locker, item shop, battle pass, quest, compete, career, V-Bucks. All of those icons are in a different order than what we currently see. As you can see, we have play and battle pass off to the side, then it goes quest, compete, locker, item shop, career, V-Bucks. So it appears that they're mixing around the order and everything else, trying to make sure everything is nice and neat. But another change is you'll notice that I have exclamation marks for things I have new items in. However, here, instead of an exclamation mark, it is simply put just a yellow dot, and that is an interesting change to see they're doing. But I think the main focus of all of this type of stuff is just modernizing the Fortnite UI while still keeping it Fortnite as it is. Now, the blog post originally did mention that it's going to release in November 2023, which should be around the exact same time as Chapter 4 Season 5, which is the final season of this chapter, so that's going to be a nice little benefit to see here. Now, of course, they kind of go in detail regarding some of the actual changes and stuff happening. This is also back when the shop was just called item, well, it wasn't even called item shop, it was just called shop, so maybe the whole entire wording of just shop is going to be in the future once we get the full UI revamp. I know that was in game at one point and then they hotfixed it to item shop, but it's most likely because of this change they're working on behind the scenes. Now, of course, later down here, we see go to Fortnite Creative, where they mention that you're able to scroll down to the Discover UI, which makes me think that whenever you're looking in the main menu, you'll be able to simply scroll, and they have been working on this for the current Fortnite UI as well. You'll be able to simply scroll down and see the pictures of modes and maps you're able to play without having to push any of the extra buttons at the top. Of course, the extra buttons at the top are still available to you, but there will be an easier way of accessing everything just by scrolling down, or I assume if you're on a controller, pressing the D-pad or, moving down with the joystick and everything else, just a little bit. But of course, some nice little changes here and there. In terms of the actual in-game UI, there isn't really anything too crazy, but if we go ahead and plop up this other blog post as well called Exploring the Sidebar in-Game Menu, we do notice some other slight things here. Now, of course, we have something like the Fortnite Media tab, which this is something that is old and isn't really used at all anymore. It's just kind of showing there because it's a development build, but if we continue scrolling down here, go past some of the non-existent, non-important parts, we will be able to notice that once we go to the voice chat area, oh, they've actually removed it. Okay, well, in the voice chat area, they actually originally had the option for you to report people. And I've actually gone ahead and pulled up that original image right here for you to see. This has been completely changed, but if we go back over here and we compare the two images side by side, and I go ahead and zoom out here so you can see the full image, we can see that now the game channel and party channel options no longer have a join and report option. It is just simply blank like the current design. Even down here at the bottom, there's an open voice settings button, but that doesn't exist in the other image that we had. Keep in mind, this is the earlier image that was on the blog post, and this is the image that you currently see over there. So they definitely went through, and I felt like for some reason they didn't want to showcase and leak the whole entire UI revamp because it's already been leaked, but for some reason this was the more important thing for them to not leak. But of course, that was kind of one of the things mentioned and showcased in the menu, and we even saw this right here. We can see even more of those little rounded out buttons, but it is showing that they are working heavily on making a UI revamp for Fortnite's just Battle Royale mode, mode, and it would be nice to see if this actual UI revamp comes to other modes like Save the World as well, which is currently on a decade-old UI at this point, right? But of course, there is a lot of stuff being worked on behind the scenes, and there's no better way to end off today's video than to actually show the item shop, because oddly enough, there's a bug happening, or a weird issue Fortnite's originally caused as of the time of recording this video, where if we go ahead and go over to my Twitter account, and I'll pop up my image on screen once again, there is no shop tabs. The shop tabs are gone. There's no shop sections. You know how like 6 p.m. whatever we would typically get shop tabs leaked out to the public? That just doesn't exist now. It's blank. There are none. Like, I don't know what to do about it. I guess they're just like, we don't need it anymore. Maybe because they're working on the new UI revamp for the item shop that we're about to show, it will actually be something where that doesn't matter at all and just simply put isn't needed. So if we go ahead and click on the item shop right now, it is going to heavily lag. And that is one of the main reasons why I think this UI hasn't actually released as of yet, is because of the shop menu. I mean, if we go ahead and scroll through the tabs here, you can see it is laggy. It is not the cleanest experience ever. It is super slow, and it would be a lot slower, believe it or not. Yes, I said slower than 1 FPS if we were over here without VSync enabled. Now, of course, since I have VSync enabled, or I'm pretty sure I do, yeah, there we go. Okay, I've enabled VSync, and as you can see, it's a little bit faster to actually scroll through the menu and everything, but the whole entire change of the UI for the item shop is to make it so everything's a lot more seamless. And whenever you hover over a cosmetic, even before you go to purchase that cosmetic, it will show up on the right side of your screen, as you can see right here, with the cosmetic. Whether it's an emote, if it's an emote, it'll show on your current skin, whether it's a back bling, whether it's something else, it will all show up here. Now, the reason it's lagging and not staying on that one skin is because there's a back bling included with the skin as well, so it's trying to switch back and forth between the two to actually show both of them. But if we go over here and hover over a pickaxe, which doesn't have anything extra added to it, it should eventually load in, as you can see right there, and you're able to kind of look at it just from that little view. Now, you're not able to really rotate the cosmetics around at all, but it is a way for you to get a generalized glimpse of what it's going to look like. And of course, one of the biggest changes that is going to come with this is the little bit of like a sidebar over here. So if I go ahead and put my webcam up all the way to the top once again, we have the sidebar, which features different areas such as Featured, Clo Chem, My Hero Academia, Get Far Out, and all that type of stuff. But now, instead of having to scroll through 100 DC tabs or 100 Marvel tabs to get to a tab you want, you can just click, and this does work on controller as well, on the tab you want to see, and it will take you instantly there. So no more scrolling all the way down just to see the daily tab or anything. Now you'll be able just to click on the tab you're interested in order to see the cosmetics a part of it. But this is something that is very, very laggy as of right now, and should be finished in the very near future in a much nicer format, right? And even if we go ahead and look at a different emote, like if we go over here and look at the Pick Me emote, assuming it loads in properly, we will be able to see that preview over the right side. It will be using my currently equipped skin, which is Surgeon Green Clover, and of course you can always just click on the cosmetics as well to view them in that view, and it'll be the current UI design that we've already seen. So of course, since the emote doesn't really want to load, oh, there it goes, it kind of loaded right when I clicked on it, if it even clicks. You know, this is a very laggy thing, keep in mind, because the UI is currently very early in development. It kind of pops up the old UI we're currently used to, so it's just a main side, you know, fix. It's just a main fix to change how we actually visually interpret and see everything. But of course, as you can see right there, it does also show in the main item shop menu, even if it is a little buggy, and it is nice to see that they're working on all these little UI revamps from here and there. So with that said, I hope champs and champions are excited to see everything changing with Fortnite very soon. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to actually understand and feel like the new UI is okay, but of course it is something that no matter what, there's going to be people who like it, there's going to be people who dislike it, and there's going to be people in between. So until next time, I'll catch you champs and champions a little bit later with even more content, and peace out.